Gather round, everyone, and allow me to tell you a tale. A tale about achieving greatness, about those greater than us looking to find something bigger. It is the tale of the greatest American game in European club history. And I don't even know if that makes sense, but you get the gist of what I'm saying, right? The greatest game featuring Americans in European club history. And it happened over the weekend as Leeds United came out and walloped Chelsea, the European champions, the Champions League regulars, made them look foolish in a 3-0 victory. And the reason it's so important, as you know, Leeds featuring an American manager and 2 American players. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen a group like that. I mean, it's not even close. We don't even have to think about it. What could possibly match this achievement? Because there are 3 of them. And we saw it all there in all its glory. You know, there's going to be a time. There's going to be a time. And I don't want to, push it forward already because it's all happening very quickly. But there's going to be a time when this kind of stuff we don't have to talk about and push our chest out and just send nauseating tweets. I mean, by the way, American soccer Twitter. And I'm guilty of it. American soccer Twitter during these games is not good. We got to cool it up a little bit. And I know we're talking to our base here, but the Twitter game is pretty poultry. But anyway, I'm not going to dampen this. It's an amazing achievement, but there's going to be a day where this is not going to be a big deal. And that day seems closer than I ever could have imagined it being. When an American player scores a hat trick in a Champions League quarterfinal, or an American gets the post at Manchester United. Whoa! Right? Or Real Madrid. That's not happening. But it's all coming closer. We're going to break it all down here on the Soccer OG. Check out the Soccer OG podcast where all podcasts are available. I have one up there with former American U.S. men's national team goalkeeper, Galaxy Revolution, Matt Reese. We have a great conversation. JJ Devaney of Caught Offside. It will be on Tuesday, so check out for that as the Soccer OG podcast goes from strength to strength. And like and subscribe the video here. Let's do it. Come on. We're looking to get to 3,000 subscribers. We're almost there. So we all got up really early. I was groggy. I live on the West Coast. It was a 7 a.m. kick? And, Sunday, Saturday night, I stay out a little late because it's the one day I can do it. And this story of Americans at Leeds, it even goes beyond that because of the MLS nature of it, because you could also add Jack Harrison, who was a New York City FC player, and you have a Red Bull player, and you have a former manager at many places, a former player in Jesse Marsch, and you have a former Philadelphia Union player. So comprehensively, Major League Soccer is represented. By the way, we're also going to have my top 5 performers of the week, and this was easy. Last week was hard. This was easy, so I didn't have to go into the cracks to find some great performances because I have a clear-cut top 5. And a couple Leeds players are going to be on there. So we are getting close to that point where this is going to be commonplace. We're also getting to the point where there's going to be another American coach in Europe because of what Jesse Marsch is doing. American coaches are relatable, hardworking, and inexpensive. And other teams, if Leeds continues on this way, and look, they're 2-0-1. They're tied for second in the Premier League, and a huge, huge win over Chelsea. And everyone's going to go, we made fun of Americans, but now it's working for Leeds. Why not do it here? And the untapped American market. Everyone's tapped into European destinations, South American, Africa. But what about the United States, which is growing by leaps and bounds? Everyone knows it, and the academies know it. The expansion, the Major League Soccer itself is finding a way to make sure players don't slip through the cracks. So it's going to keep happening. There's going to be more Americans in the Premier League, in the Serie A, La Liga, the Bundesliga. By the Premier League, we had the 2 guys at Leeds. We had the 2 guys at Fulham. We had Chris Richards. He played for a couple of minutes at Crystal Palace. We have Matt Turner still backing up. Aaron Ramsdale, he'll get some sniffs here. It's going to grow. Maybe Serginho Dest gets to Manchester United. Maybe. We've been hearing that also. But, Patrick Vieira, MLS manager, doing great at Crystal Palace. And I know Patrick Vieira started the Premier League, but his time at the Major League Soccer isn't something you just wipe away and say, oh, okay. In advance of what he's been able to do, maybe we can overlook what he did at MLS. No, that's part of his resume, and it's an impressive part of his resume. So it's going to get bigger and better. We said that about this because it makes sense. MLS and American soccer is in the ascendancy. There's no denying it. And the means of this game, Brendan Aaronson scoring a goal a few minutes into it, where he scored the kind of goal, it was in the 33rd minute, that you see the greats of the game play, Neymar or Messi or Ronaldo, where he just undresses an opponent, a world-class goalkeeper like Edouard Mendy. Made him look foolish as he tapped that ball in. He also did that to Kalidou Koulibaly, who would get a red card, just turning him inside out. World-class players for Chelsea. Marc Cucurella, same thing. It was very odd to see. It was good odd. I mean, we thought maybe Leeds had a shot, but not like this. Now, Chelsea, I will say, had a shot to completely change the outcome here. Raheem Sterling should have put one away. He did score a goal. It was disallowed. But there was chances early on where Chelsea should have scored a goal. But they didn't. And then Leeds United changed their fortunes. Meslier in goal for Leeds with a couple good saves. Lack of execution. And there on Chelsea, on the bench, he would come in the, I think it was the 64th minute, Christian Pulisic. That's part of, that's the agonizing part of this, to see what's become of him, where Chelsea can't score goals. And now these other American players are seizing the moment. So 33rd minute, an incredible goal by Brendan Aaronson. He was involved as well on the Jack Harrison goal. He was a decoy and it went over his head. Before that made it 3-0. There was also the goal from Rodrigo, who's been fantastic. This was absolutely breathtaking. The celebrations from Jesse Marsch, which are a bit excessive, I must add, but I am not here to tell him to quell that. It's just, things aren't going to go all that great all season long, or maybe they are. Leeds have a good team. Still, you couldn't really expect them to be in this situation. This is also a reflection off of Chelsea, who are really stuttering and in some peril early on, and that's going to mount. Pressure is going to mount on Thomas Tuchel. How much pressure mounts up on Thomas Tuchel? Chelsea are known for making changes. That was more in the Roman Abramovich era, where he was kind of like George Steinbrenner of soccer, but it could still happen. And maybe Christian Pulisic outlasts Thomas Tuchel, although we won't talk about that. And we don't want anyone to get fired. And it's still a ways away from Thomas Tuchel to get into that situation. Tyler Adams was fantastic. He came in and he is always in front of the back four. He was asked to do a job by Jesse Marsch, and he's doing it perfectly. He is a hard man. He wins ball, and he gives that team a real edge, right? It could not have gone better for Tyler Adams. You thought he'd be a step slow, but it feels like this is the perfect opportunity for him. So Brendan Aaronson scoring goals. It was his first goal, because remember the game against Wolves where we all thought he scored a goal. It was an own goal. This is officially his first goal. Did it with class, no look. Both guys are key to what Leeds United does. And that was something that all of them were asked afterwards. And I think Tim Howard on the NBC broadcast, when they had Jesse Marsch, said, you could have played Chelsea, you could have sat back in a low block and played your thing, but you didn't. You have a style, you come out at opponents, and it worked in your favor. So Leeds are not afraid. And these two players are brought in specifically for that. And you get the feeling another American may be joining Leeds because, as we said in past Soccer OG YouTube videos, that is something that Jesse Marsch has that every other manager, with the exception of Patrick Vieira, does not have, and that is a connection into the American soccer landscape. And that's how he's getting a guy like Brendan Aaronson that is being viewed as as a best 11 player right now in England. I mean, he ran around Jorginho. He ran around Koulibaly. He ran at and embarrassed Edouard Mendy. It was heavy sledding for Chelsea. And Brendan Aaronson looked like one of the best players in the Premier League. Will he stay that way? Probably not. But it's an incredible start to where he has been. And Tyler Adams did his thing. Fulham won again, and Tim Ream and Anthony Robinson. This is a very exciting time. So if every week we have 6 players doing well, we're going to stop having these firework shows talking about all the great things Americans. The rest of the world must be so sick of us. They must be so sick of us going, oh yeah, Christian Pulisic's not. Look, I'm guilty of it. I'm not distancing myself from it at all. But when it's on Twitter or social media, people are like, oh, we lay it thick. We lay it thick. But we have to, right? We got to defend ourselves. We have to defend ourselves because these are our guys. And we've never been given a break in this sport, so we got to make some noise, right? Because no one's going to give it to us. It still blows me away that Jesse Marsch is in this position. Managers are going to lose their jobs. I don't know if it's going to be Thomas Tuchel. Maybe it's Steven Gerrard. Maybe it's David Moyes. And I guarantee you there's going to be American candidates that are going to be interviewed. Maybe it's Jim Curtin. Maybe it's Steve Cherundolo. They're going to look there because of what Jesse Marsch did. And this thing is going to get bigger and bigger. Players, coaches, broadcasters, BBC, Sky Sports. I am available some weekends if you need a voice. I mean, with all these Americans in the league, you should have an American who can give context to their plight. Food for thought. So really soak it all in. Enjoy that moment because it was perfect. It was perfect to watch our guys make that impact, and it's upwards and onwards from here. Whew. I may have to watch the game again. It was that good. Leeds United are going to be good. They're going to be a top 10 team, probably 8th, 9th, 10th. And again, it's still very early in the season, but look, Leeds should be 3 wins for 3. And I love what Jesse Marsch did. He pushed all the right buttons, but in the game, who did they play last week? Against Southampton, they were up 2 goals, got very conservative, and they ended up tying the game. They should have won that game. That was on Jesse Marsch. They should be right with Arsenal at the top of the Premier League. They're going to get points. They have EFL Cup action coming up on Wednesday, and then they have Brighton, who've been very, very good, away on Saturday. So let's go, moving it forward. Time now for my top 5 players, American players in Europe from the weekend. And I've mentioned a lot of them here. I'm going to start at number 5. Tyler Adams. I know you're tempted to bring him up a little bit higher because it was a very offensive weekend. Not offensive, but offensive-minded weekend for American players. So they're going to take the top spots. But Tyler Adams was great. A historic result. He has to make the top 5. And he's not in the top 3 because of these incredible performances from other players. Number 4, Jordan Pefok. Had a goal, assisted on the second goal for Union Berlin as they beat RB Leipzig. Huge win. And he's starting to get better. All our strikers were scoring goals this weekend, which is exactly the position we need to be starting to develop, right? Jesus Ferreira's in MLS. He's not going to make this list, obviously, but he's scoring goals, didn't play on the weekend. And now Jordan Pefok. So he had a performance that certainly could be top 3. He comes in at number 4. So, there you have it. Number 3, Josh Sargent. Josh Sargent. Friday we were going bananas. He was with Norwich. This was a number 1 performance, really, because he had 2 remarkable goals. 2 remarkable goals. And at the time, I was thinking the top 5. Put him in ink. Number 1, Josh Sargent. I didn't know what was going to happen. And the only thing I'm reluctant to put him down is the opponent. Because the guys in 1 and 2 played superior opponents. I don't want to take a shot at Millwall, but I will. It's Millwall. It's Millwall. So that is what Josh Sargent, who had his best game in his European career, and it's only good enough for 3rd. Sorry, Josh. That's the way it is. The good news for him, he has to be called up in September. He has a real shot of making the World Cup roster. He's been playing as a number 9. He could still be that second forward. I think could be very useful at the World Cup. It's going to be him probably competing with Jordan Morris and maybe some of the other strikers. But that versatility should help. Josh Sargent at number 3. Number 2 is Brendan Aaronson. You're saying to yourself, what? Someone topped Brendan Aaronson after he had one of the greatest moments for an American in soccer history? That dispossess of Edouard Mendy and the no-look tap-in? That's not good enough for number 1. Not this week. Not this week. So Brendan Aaronson comes in at number 2. Number 1 is Haji Wright. I watched the extended highlights, a 15-minute package, comes off the beIN Sports. Haji Wright playing for his Turkish team, Antalyaspor, taking on Trabzonspor, who were the reigning Turkish champions. They beat them 5-2. So why is Haji Wright number 1? Well, he scored 2 goals. The second goal he scored, which was the 5th, was just one of the best goals of the weekend. He toyed with the Trabzonspor defenders, and they are a really good team. They're the Turkish champs. They got recognizable players everywhere. And they came back to tie it 2-2. So he had the 2 goals. So why is that better than Aaronson or Sargent? Well, he was involved in the first. He also won a penalty, which he converted. He set up the game winner, 3-2. He was sort of involved in the 4th goal, and he scored in the 5th. So he was involved in all 5 goals in some way, but he was directly involved in 4 of them. Haji Wright had himself a game. So Haji Wright goes to the top, and I would say this is probably the best weekend we've had in a long time, but I get the feeling this is going to change a lot. So he was with Antalyaspor, and he gets the number one spot, deservedly so. So there you go. Enjoy this moment. It's a new way to watch the Premier League and European soccer because we have these guys in these top spots. And that community is going to grow. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. This was all predicted by Nostradamus or Nostrosoccerogius that this could happen if Leeds stayed up. They did stay up, and now with the advantage of being able to lock into American players, and of course the talent is there at a high level for the first time ever, possibly. And here we are, the Soccer OG. Check out the Soccer OG podcast. Like and subscribe us here. Can't wait for next weekend.